and good night. Thanks again for downloading the Body Snatchers podcast. And when you listen, stream, or download straight to your device, Castbox is your best option. Remember, if you like what you hear today, don't forget to subscribe and comment. So let's get started. Enjoy the show.
All right, guys. Good morning, good night. Thank you for choosing the Body Snatchers podcast. Tino here with a lot of people today for our little, what we'll call Christmas special. We've got Gia, who is an active cosplayer, who is currently cosplaying, so it's kind of wild to have a video format of that. What's going on, Gia?
Not much. Just enjoying life. Been binge playing Spyro. I'm sick as hell, so
It's
that's
okay.
a thing.
It's all right. You probably sound better than John feels internally because he doesn't take care of himself. John, how you been?
I'm doing good, man. I'm gone for a couple months. I come back. You guys upgraded to video podcasts and stuff.
That's what happens when you take your vitamins. I always told you, do more. Do more. And Jay, how you doing?
I'm great, as always. Same old.
Some of you may not know this, but Jay is actually utilizing my MacBook because I have two computers.
I need that.
So,
Yeah, they're like in the same place, just different rooms.
mhm.
What y'all missed was a few moments ago, Jay was eating delicious batter from a beater from Tino's fiance making cookies. So that's a thing.
It was delicious.
See, this is what African American people do. They just come over here and start using your own shit, and then as soon as I say something, I'm the bad guy. Okay.
Yeah, you're a monster.
Get you.
I love you, man. It's okay. We all stick together. Happy holidays and all that. So, for those of you that are new, please head over to bodysnatcherspodcast.com before this is over. Check us out on social media. We're on all forms of social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, even Twitch. Some of us who actively play video games and remember to stream them. John.
Yeah, no, I forget every single time.
Crazy.
I streamed Spyro a little bit yesterday, if that makes you feel better, but my voice was starting to go, so I stopped.
A little bit.
I mean, Microsoft is kind of annoying because since they bought, I forget what the original name of the company was, Mixer, that they integrated it into their system or into the UI. So Twitch is kind of a pain in the ass to use. So I always forget.
Oh, before I forget to, relevant to those who care, our Minecraft server is back up as well. So if you guys are into playing Minecraft, you want to check out all the
Nice.
cool shit we've built over the last year and a half, then come check us out. It's pretty dope. We got a few new faces on there.
With our one friend Robert, who goes off and kills the Ender Dragon before anybody else and gets wings and stuff for everybody.
That dude is so extra.
He is. Hey, you want these Illyrian wings? Yeah, sure. Give them to me.
No big deal. Just sold the Ender Dragon, and then I brought him back to life in case anybody else wants to. Oh, thanks, buddy. Thanks. So,
Such a thoughtful guy.
all right, guys. So this movie has been, or I should say this year rather, has been pretty wild with a lot of movies that have come out. Some superhero movies better than others. Aquaman just dropped a couple days ago, and I really, really didn't think that it was going to bring the kind of thunder that it brought. Based on what I saw out of the previews and what I expected from previous DC movies, I don't know, man. Like that's just where I'm at. I'm kind of in shock still. Like for me, it was damn good. I loved every second of it, and I really want to get into different categories, different sections. But just for like some general feedback, Gio, how did you feel? Just generally.
So I'm a really huge Aquaman fan, and like I'm pretty sure anybody that's in our group or just in general knows this because I'm always defending Aquaman when people say some dumb shit.
Thank you.
Like,
I'm right there
sorry,
with
some
you.
dumb stuff. Wait, go ahead and censor that out when you edit this, Tino.
It'll be all
But
right.
like when they make the comments about him like riding a pink seahorse or getting caught by like the little bottle rings or whatever, like
Thank you.
that was stupid stuff from Super Friends that should never have happened because Aquaman's actually really awesome. So I was really happy with it. I was a little irritated with how like unintelligent they made him. Like he was just really stupid about some stuff, and I was just sitting there like, all right, we got frat boy Aquaman. But for the most part, it was really well done. And the villains, the way that they played them out, really good. I enjoyed it a lot.
And John?
I enjoyed it, man. Like you, same thing as you, going into it with kind of low expectations from the other DC movies. It turned out to be a lot better than I expected it to be. So I enjoyed it visually. It was a pretty damn good movie.
So that's a thumbs up initially.
Yep.
Okay. Is that like a kaleidoscope going on underneath your hat? What is that?
That's probably this thing reflecting off of it right
No,
now.
he's talking about the design on your hat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not your lava lamp. I had one of those when I was 6. They're still cool though. They're still cool.
It's okay. He's got a lava lamp, and then I noticed a cat just like strolling on by behind Jay.
I wasn't gonna say anything about it. I was like, it's okay, Jay.
That's
It's okay.
That's Jay and the Thundercats. Jay, same page. Any immediate dislikes you want to dive into, or
My if I was to have a dislike, I would say it would be the romance was a little cheesy at times. Like it was one part when
disagree? Disagree.
it was no, it was cheesy. It was cheesy. Like it was one part when she fell into his arms and seriously like half the theater smacked their lips. Like for real.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
I smacked my lips on every part of it because it'd be something really awesome going on. And one thing I hate about my action, like comic book movies, is romance. Like, if I hate it so much, and every time it happened, I was just like,
Okay.
"Why is this happening to me?" Just go back to the actual movie parts.
All right, so
Man.
Yeah.
I kind of want to start off just discussing the movie as a whole from the director's perspective. The way that this one was done by James Wan was awesome, I think, in comparison to what Zack Snyder's done.
Schneider.
And fuck him, I don't care. And what was her name? Patty Jenkins, who did Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
Now, Wonder Woman, for the most part, it was pretty good. I don't think it was a great movie, but it was pretty good. Zack's movies suck. I'm sorry. Like Man of Steel, I actually did like. I still do. But I think that's just because the story, it's one of those Superman origin stories where it kind of just did its own thing. It's really hard to mess it up, so I really can't give him praise or take away from that. Everything else that he's done has been trash. And that's just the way that I feel about it. And I think that we're all kind of on the same page collectively when you look at him as a whole. But this movie was like, it didn't feel like it even belonged in the same universe, to be honest. And my expectations were so freaking low based on the really small portrayal we saw of Aquaman leading up to this. And honestly, yeah, he was still very bro-y, like, Gia was saying. But I think it was kind of relatable to some extent. I don't know. Every time he said some douchebag shit, I was just like, it's so stupid. But yeah, I get it.
Yeah. It wasn't even the douchebag stuff to me. It was the fact that, like, some of the things that he was saying was just so stupid. And I'm like, in the comics, Aquaman's a really smart person. So, like, why?
Yeah.
Why are they making him so dumbed down?
I mean,
maybe because he wasn't in Atlantis, so maybe the longer he's king, his like intellect will come up. I don't know. I'm just trying to give an olive branch to his character on this movie right now.
Right, my eye had just started like.
Yeah, I know. I saw it.
Okay, John with the fan theories. You tripping?
Non-canon, by the way.
Non-canon.
But again, just the overall feel of the movie for me was it kind of felt like a the feeling you get from like a really good anime where like there's just like a lot of wild shit going on. And there's a couple YouTubers I saw that I was watching just to kind of see how they felt about it, and kind of felt the same way. They were like, yeah, like there's a lot of stuff happening on the screen, but it just works. Unlike, I don't know, let's make up a director's name, Michael Bay. Let's say that Michael.
Let's make it up. Okay.
Let's say Michael Bay is a director and he puts a lot of stuff on the screen. Just because there's a lot of cool things happening doesn't mean it's always going to work. And for this movie, I think it works. Like there's quite a bit going on. And
So I don't know how much you guys know about Aquaman, but you could tell that the director really followed or at least researched when he was putting it together. In general, just the screenplay and that, because in the scene with the Coliseum, there was a character that was shown, and if you guys know anything about Aquaman, there's this one octopus that's like almost always been there, and he's been remade several times. Well, this drum-playing octopus was in the Coliseum just beating the freaking war drums right before they started fighting, and that's Topo. So I was
that's what that was about.
Well, yeah, when I saw that, I was just like, oh, Topo! And I got excited because I thought there was going to be more to it, and then, of course, there wasn't. He was just playing the drums. But it was that little Easter egg, and there were things like that throughout the whole movie that just made me really happy.
Well, not only did he, add in those little tidbits and stuff, but I think the reason it was so loosely accurate is because they had one of the writers, Jeff, I forget his name. I know I wrote it down because I'm terrible at remembering all my authors' names. Jeff Johns, who's one of the like main writers for a ton of Aquaman like series that have come out in the past. So I like that's the first time I can think of it. Somebody who has actually been involved with the creation and story writing for a character outside of the movies. Was like, hey, I'll jump in and help you make this shit right. And I think it
Mm-hmm.
shows. I mean, agree? Disagree?
Agree.
I can agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
For
it
as little
definitely
as I
shows.
know about the character. My bad. Go ahead.
No, I was like, it definitely shows, and just the like you were saying, the differences of the director, like it was the one scene, the foot chase scene when they was chasing, one of the bad guys was chasing Mirror, like he was above and no, she was above and he was
She was
below.
above, he was below.
Yeah, and I thought that was
Yeah.
really cool, and I watched a little breakdown of that scene, and the guy, it was actually another stunt guy that was recording the guy that was chasing her, you know what I mean? And it was like, it was just really cool how they did that scene, and a lot of the action, it was done really well.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like the next thing I wanted to jump into. The CGI in this movie and the action scenes and everything. I think everything flowed like really, really well. From it coming down to yeah, Mira. Oh
Wait.
my God, she was bae. She was fine. But forget that for a second. Like being in Atlantis and the way that all looked up
Yeah.
when Atlantis was attacking the upper world, and like the waves were crashing in. They had that whole huge scene with like a giant storm, and they had the warships and stuff crashing. Like all that stuff looked good.
Yeah.
Being on the submarines with Black Manta and his father, and like just the fight scene that occurred in there, and what happened to the submarine, and even him stealing the government sub to lock into that. Like all that stuff looked good. There was at no point in the movie did I have to step back and be like, okay, this is that scene, the one where I gotta like really try to force myself to stay into it. Like for me, I didn't have it. I was into it the whole way. Black Manta, when he upgraded his suit to something that we are all much more familiar with, the laser
Right.
eyes, the weapons, being in Atlantis, it was so beautiful. It felt like a mixture of like Tron meets I would say Avatar, like underwater or
Yeah, I can
something.
see
Like
that.
Yeah.
everything
The
just
only
fit.
the only thing for me is Orm. I think that anyway.
Yeah.
His hair was fucking spectaculous. I'm gonna mix words together for that. It was freaking great. Like, how come everybody else's hair was just like waving in the water, and his was just like a perfect point on the back of his head?
Yeah, in the back. Yeah.
He
But
probably has a
when I
black
saw
girlfriend.
him, he probably is a black girl, for Jesus Christ. But when I saw him, because I really associate that actor with Watchmen. All I could see was his character in Watchmen for like the first half of the movie.
I didn't even
Like,
think of that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
and I was just sitting there. I was just like, so when's he gonna don his owl suit? But I mean, aside from that, like one, he looked really young, and I would have all of his babies. Two, he acted the part really well, and I wasn't expecting that out of him because seeing him in so many like hero type roles, to see him as a villain was just and it wasn't like it was kind of like how to I'm trying to relate it to another villain that was really like Thanos when they made him more relatable to people. Like this is why he's doing everything that he's doing. And
Yeah.
you didn't really hate him, like you were mad that he was doing certain things a certain way, like when there was the one scene with the fisherman, and I
Hmm.
wasn't really approving of what he did there, but like you could see why he was doing the things he was doing, and it's because he wanted to protect all of the people of the sea. But at the same time, he was a bad guy, so you're just like, I want to hate you, but I can't because you have perfect hair and you have good reasons and you're handsome.
That
So
those Taking Back Sunday lyrics. I want to hate you so bad, but I just can't.
yeah,
Sorry, I'm showing my age.
Perfect.
Bringing back that high school, those high school memories. So
Nothing wrong with that.
nah.
it is what it is. But speaking of Orm with Patrick Wilson, God damn, he did a good job. I've been missing having him on screen in something like this because he's been doing all these horror movies like the last maybe 10 years or so, and he does a great
Yes.
job. Don't get me wrong. He was in the Insidious movies. And there was a couple. The Conjuring 1 and 2, and I believe he's still supposed to be in 3.
Yeah, he
Mhm.
plays the husband,
Yeah,
right?
and he
Yeah.
just he does a good job, and I didn't even realize, that him and the director of this movie like have been working together hand in hand all these years because they also have been doing all these horror movies together. But it makes sense. Like I should have put two and two together and been like, you know what? I know I'm gonna like this if I loved all those because I usually hate horror movies. I don't know how you guys feel about them, but like I'm usually like,
Yeah, I'm usually pass on them.
Yeah, hard pass.
Another person who did it really well, Nicole Kidman. First off, I didn't even recognize her in the beginning.
Yeah,
I didn't go in knowing who all was in the movie. I just knew Amber Heard was Mira. I knew that Jason Momoa was reprising his role as Aquaman. Cool, got it. So when she showed up in the beginning, I was like, that looks an awful lot like Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
And I just kept looking, and I was just like, oh shit, it is. And she did that role really well too. Like, I had been debating putting Mira on my cosplay list, and honestly, the only reason I put this together was because I was like, we're recording, and we're doing a video. I'm gonna dress up like Mira. When I saw that movie, I was just like, screw Mira. I need to cosplay Queen Atlanta and just be doing flips and kicks and stuff.
You know what? She did a good job. Let's not get crazy.
What?
Let's not.
See my fucking head bob.
Yeah, let's not get crazy here. I mean, did you see Mira when she was swimming away and her tail fin, her little booty was popping about the water, and I was like, oh my god.
Well, see, I'm not attracted to women, so I wasn't looking at it that way.
I was talking about how well she was swimming first. of all.
Okay, because if we go on with that route, Nicole Kidman was swimming very well too.
Yeah,
so
but
I'm just gonna throw that out there. Although when they showed her when she was older, she was looking kind of like
now, like rough.
like the from the waist down was just kind of like
she had a
not like this, but like this.
We call it it's a badingy ding.
No, it's like the backwards piglet.
Like
That's what it is. It's a backwards piglet. So she got the round where the tatas are, but it's just straight when it gets down to the legs.
And while we're coming for age differences, the father's name, Tom, was it? Wasn't that the father's name? Arthur's father's name?
Remember?
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Okay, fine. His role wasn't really that important. It wasn't.
It was, but
well, it was short. It was short, so I can't fault anybody for that. But his father, he is an older gentleman, and I forget the actor's name offhand. I apologize. I didn't realize we'd be talking about it. Whoops. But if you go back to when they were younger and he was falling in love with Nicole Kidman's character Atlanta, he looked kind of weird. Did you guys notice that? That's probably like one of two complaints I have for this movie.
Because of the CG to make him look younger.
I think it was a makeup issue. I don't even know.
Queen, she looked a little weird too, younger, and it's because it's makeup / CGI to smooth out all the wrinkles and imperfections.
Oh no, I mean I'm aware, but it just didn't work really good.
I agree with you. Yeah, I'm agreeing with you, but I feel like both of them looked weird when you think about it and you look back because of the smoothing.
I couldn't even hear with John's half interruptions. John, please.
I heard her fine, but my bad. I was gonna say it's like the same thing with Superman when they had the CGI out his mustache or something.
Oh, nothing will ever be that bad.
I usually have fake mustaches with me, but
I mean they did it better.
Chinese pipe is gonna have to work.
That actually worked.
And it's perfect. It's fucking red.
Yeah, I must ask you a question.
What is it?
I don't know. I didn't think it had that far.
Oh.
So okay, let's talk about some of this emotional shit. Fuck it, let's get into it. So here's all the emotional.
We're becoming family friendly.
He's the main one
Every
time.
Right.
Until it happens, that's when I'll cry about it. Not today. So it's Christmas. Fuck it. Everything is nice.
I approved. I'm gonna just interject here. I approved of all the field trains with son meeting mom going back to dad, things like that, like familial tie feels I've really liked and I enjoyed. All of the lovey-dovey stuff, I cringed every single time.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So,
like romance stuff, I was like, please don't. Like, we all know that they get married eventually and they're king and queen. We don't need all the cheesy.
We didn't need it.
Well, I probably had 3 major emotional moments myself. Not like overly emotional, but that kind of hit me where it's like, hey, I'm feeling something right now. What's going on?
What?
So
you can do that.
That's surprising.
I can only do it on Friday evenings for a very short amount of time, as long as there's a full moon.
Makes sense.
The first one is probably like the initial love, where they fell in love and they bring Atlanta in, and she's on the table and he's like trying to revive her, not realizing what she is, and she throws a
And she ate his
freaking
goldfish.
right, throws a trident through the TV, mad disrespectful. But like I kind of felt that because it was like awkward, like we don't understand each other, but we're getting there. Like I'm gonna fall in love and we're gonna have a kid, and it was kind of cool with her telling him our little Arthur stories, bouncing him on the foot, and I was like, okay, feels. Second feels moment, not when she left, not all that stuff, but when Arthur was getting picked on, and then his powers like came to light. That was such
Boy.
a cool scene.
Now I'm
Good
just
dude.
gonna throw this out here. That was the number one scene that the second it happened, I was like, this is why one reason that Aquaman's awesome as hell. Because he can literally, like, he's made comments in the comic books where he can't have real conversations with sea life because their brains are so underdeveloped. But because he has the telepathic link to them, he can make them do whatever he wants. So when that happened early on in the movie, showing that he had that power, and the shark almost like bust through the glass, I was just literally sitting there like
Did
the
you
whole
guys see
time.
this? Did you guys
Yes.
see this? Yeah, so I mean that did something for me. And then I think the last and final feels scene for me was Arthur makes a comment at the end when he runs into his mom. I really didn't care that he ran into Nicole Kidman again. Because every time I see her, I just see Tom Cruise still, and it's weird. I'm sorry. And I'm just like,
Here you go.
I can't let it go. I can't, But when she was like, how's your father doing? And then they go to the scene with him without the makeup on, looking, his actual age. And they're like,
Yeah.
every day he walks down to the end of the pier waiting
Yeah,
for
that
you.
was
And I was
rough.
like, oh,
That
that
was-
hurts. That
Oh,
hurts.
dude.
I could
That
just see
hurt.
like a old man, like at the lighthouse, walking down with the water. just
Yeah, because they
staring.
did the flashback. Every
Mhm.
day he goes to the end of the dock.
Oh yeah, it's like, do you
And he
miss
waits
your
every
wife
single
Atlanta?
morning.
Every day. We gotta make that. We gotta turn that into a meme like ASAP.
We do.
Yeah.
No, we'll get on that. We'll make that happen. I had no feels for Black Manta. He kind of annoyed me. Kathy pointed out like 5 times. It really bugged her. Not so much me, but
Mhm.
the acting was kind of awkward. Like,
Well, I don't
Like
think
he
I've ever.
was.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go.
I was gonna say I don't think I've ever really seen him in other things, so it could just be like a newcomer acting issue. And yeah, some of it was just kind of awkward. But when I really deep down think about it, sometimes that's reactions that real people have, and
Yeah.
like facial expressions real people have. So I wasn't like really too upset about it. My headpiece keeps popping out from my face. But so it did kind of bother me too a bit here and there. But when I don't know.
Well,
It didn't-
the way that I took it is Black Manta for me has always kind of been like overly militant, where he's just like about what he's what he's there for, and that's it. I can't really recall too many situations where he's just portrays like normal character feelings. Usually he's like, this is what we about to do, and he
Yeah.
just kind of says what he's about his business. So that's how I took it. But I guess I can see how somebody like Kathy, who hasn't seen any other probably variation of Black Manta, would be like, this acting is terrible.
And honestly, that's probably why I didn't see an issue with it having been and still being in the military for so long. Like that's where like I literally saw people like that every single day.
right.
And that's like the kind of reactions they would have to things, the kind of like single-minded focus that they would have. So
Yeah.
just
I feel
getting-
like I was kind of in the same boat as Kathy with me not knowing as much as you guys do. Like I felt like he was just kind of overdoing the whole villain role, just with his acting a little too much. But I mean, at the end of the day, he wasn't the main villain of the movie, so it wasn't like it ruined everything else. Like if he had been the main villain and he was there throughout the whole thing, then it would have been like, all right, this is kind of annoying. But he came in, got his ass kicked a couple times. That was
So I'm
it.
gonna throw this out here. I really enjoyed the Aquaman got his ass whooped so much throughout the whole movie because it made it so much better when he finally like came back and was like, and he made the comments. He's like, I've been getting my butt kicked this whole time. So
He did.
like,
He did.
But can we talk about how that dude survived getting a
Man.
bolus wrapped around his damn neck with a heavy ass chain and some cement balls? He bounced off of cliffs into rocks into the water.
And
And somehow he's floating on this piece of wood and no water was inside his mask, drowning him. Can we talk about this?
I
That's-
literally said to Jay, I was
Yeah.
like, where the fuck did he find this plank of wood from?
And
Like,
dude,
what?
how did he
Where?
not die from drowning the
Yeah, 'cause
second
he
he
was-
hit the water when his mask broke apart? And then how is he perfectly on this wood? Sorry, I dropped my headset. Anyway, wood laid out, and the water's like you can see the water's washing up onto
He's
him,
good.
but not one bit of it got into his mask.
You guys are
Sorry,
thinking
fill in.
about regular Manta. Regular Manta folds to the side of anything.
Ah,
We're talking about
okay.
African American Black Manta, and
Oh,
nothing
oh,
takes him
gotcha.
out. Okay,
Ah,
I can't wait for
water.
him to be in the
But
next
I
movie.
mean, if that was the case, we all know how us, or rather most, black folks don't like to swim.
He didn't. He found the driftwood.
Well, what about before he found it?
His dad died.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I actually never saw him swim in that movie.
Yeah, he ain't got time for
Well,
that.
apparently he must have swam to get his heavy armor from the bottom of the ocean onto that plank of wood.
You know what? The more I think about it, he really is living a stereotype. He's the only person in the
Yeah.
movie who stole. He stole from the government to get his fucking submarine, and then tried to
Real
steal
good.
more things. Yeah. It was using guns like pretty much the
Like,
majority
man.
of the time. He brought a gun to a trident fight multiple times, and then he was accepting handouts. He's like, "Well, there's nothing I can do unless the Atlantean government helps me out." Boom. Here's some Atlantean armor. Now you can be somebody. And still had the nerve to complain because when the Atlantean government came through and they're like, "Look, man, what's going on? What's up with this situation?" He was just like, "I don't want your money. I want revenge.
I want Aquaman.
But I'll
That's
also
Section 8
take some
armor.
money." Yeah. Right? All this cool Atlantean technology, and this dude's spray painting their shit. He was graffiti tagging the fucking equipment.
Trying to be like Miles. You know? That's what Miles did with his suit. He had to make it his own.
That
First of all,
was so that
Miles
makes it
was
worse.
a very young, beautiful, half-black man making his suit his own. He wasn't graffiti tagging things.
All I heard is that you
Alright.
got two minorities in two separate movies that are spray painting things. That's all I heard. But I'm with it though. I didn't care. His suit was awesome. I loved it. I loved that he kind of made it his own. And you know what it did is it also demonstrated that not only he militant in the sense where he's trained to kill, but he possesses the ability to change Atlantean equipment. Like that should be a really
Yep.
big
Yeah.
deal.
The intelligence to work on it and figure it out.
Yeah, it was a nice way of showing what he's capable of without him saying like, I'm a super genius who went to MIT. Like they didn't have to do
Right,
that. Like
right.
they were just like,
Right.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that they did a good job setting him up for the next movie. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure there's going to be a sequel or something. But
Well, obviously, his butt
yeah,
woke up, and then that dude who was like, "The Atlanteans are real." It's like the aliens, but Atlanteans. He's working on his stuff at the end too. It's come together.
Yeah.
yeah.
This is a fact. Here's something that I really, really hated that I would like to bring up while it's relevant. I love this whole movie all the way through. Like, there's almost nothing that I hated, except when they get to the desert and they hit the ground and they're walking, and that pit bull cover comes on. It's the only
my
thing
God.
that you were just like, ugh, like who approved this? And
I leaned over to John. I was like, they could have saved so much money and just not did this. I was like,
you could have
why?
hired anybody, and it would have been
You know
better.
how movies are. You can't have just like legit silent bits unless the movie is about silence.
It was.
I mean, it
so
didn't have to be
bad.
silent, but I mean.
Well, I
Pitbull
went back.
sucks.
I went back and heard the song, and I heard the remix, and I don't know if Pitbull did any of the actual production on the song. I doubt it, but let's assume he did. The parts where he's not rapping were actually really, really good. And I'm a person who loves all music, so this isn't a shot at hip hop. It was just like, dude, this sounds really bad. Like that's
it's a
not the
shot at
section of the
Pitbull.
song.
Nah,
Right.
how dare you hate Pitbull, our
King of
Lord
the
and
sea,
Savior.
look at me.
All right, so we're all in agreement that was the L for the movie.
Yes.
It was
yes.
trash.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, second thing that I thought might be kind of funny to bring up to you guys, I actually went with Kathy, I went with John, and I went with Jay. And when I was there, we were all supposed to sit in one row. I bought 2 tickets. That's how it was supposed to go. Well, for whatever reason, they fucked up. They took too long buying their tickets, so they sat behind us.
Oh.
Not a big deal. So now to my right, I've got this older black lady who is just nuts. She was nuts. I had to deal with this the entire movie, and it almost ruined my experience. Like every time a scene for anything would happen, she out loud, like, and not just like whispering lightly, but like as if she was meant to be talking to somebody, was trying to predict the next line that they were going to say in the movie. So like if you heard, for instance, like on the screen, say they were talking really slowly and they were like, "It is you, Arthur, who is meant to be," and then she'd be like, "The one true king." And I'd be like, bitch, like the whole movie. And it just got to this point where I was like, all right, man, like I don't know how much more of this I can take.
And it
maybe
was
maybe she
sorry.
watched it. It's okay. Maybe she watched it before, so she already knew what was going to be said.
Oh, she had it on bootleg, right?
Well,
Well,
and
maybe
that's
she saw it the day before or earlier that morning.
see, and that's what
Nah,
I
it was
thought.
bootleg.
But here's the thing. Now, shut up. Let me tell you the rest of this. It's because you're hearing it as I'm telling you, but what you're not hearing that is very hard for me to create the situation because I was trying to block it out. Is she was predicting, like I said, what she thought was gonna happen. So for cheesy lines like that, she was right. But there was a whole lot more times where she was wrong, and it was very confusing, very confusing. We'll just leave it like that. It was just like, do you remember those like little storybooks they had when they were kids, where you had to like fill in phrases, and then like I forget what those are called, but you bought them from the
The ad
bookstores.
lib books.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the ad lib books. It felt just like that. Like she would say some like they'd say a line slowly, and then she would screw up the line because I was trying to listen to the movie, but then she'd chime in with whatever, and I was like, okay, that's what we're doing today. I even stared at her a couple times, like just like, is that what we're doing? Trying
She
not to
was
be like,
she was also the loudest in the theater every time Jason had his fucking shirt off. It was
Yeah,
kinda-
every time.
every
Yes,
time.
yes. I
Hercules.
get it. He's delicious. All right. Like,
So I feel like this woman probably needs new underwear for Christmas.
Second thing, before I forget, how cool was it to have the Green Goblin from 2002, William Dafoe, train Aquaman in the art of Trident?
Bruh, first of all, when he showed up, I was like, oh, look, it's Willem DeFriend.
no.
I laughed as my brain processed that
Oh
joke.
my god.
Was that the octopus?
The fucking that
Drumming
fun.
octopus. But yeah, and he did such a good job. Like I love any William Dafoe movie. Like he always does a good job.
Yeah.
But to have him in there, like I don't know, because it's like the last superhero I remember him being a part of was Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kept thinking about him.
I'm gonna throw this out here. The second he looked at Orm and was like, he's more of a king than you'll ever be, and he's a half-blood. I was just like, ha!
Yeah.
Killed him.
He did destroy him. Well, no, he destroyed him twice.
He
So
said, bitch, you ain't a king.
it was shots fired. But at the end was just as nice because when he fed him back the same line, and he was just like, "Why don't you lock him up someplace with a nice view?" And then gave him that William Dafoe smile, like just froze it. And I was like, "Oh my god, that's fun."
Yeah, he played his part very well. I did have a question though for you guys. What was like kind of I don't know if we can really go into it too deep, but I wanted to know what was your kind of favorite visual part of the movie. I mean, for me, it was when they were going to the trench.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I can say, but
Yeah.
that was beautiful. That whole setting was just really nice. But there were a few of those points in the movie where visually it was just stunning.
For me, honestly, it was the hair. The hair underwater was like amazing. I was so happy that they captured it. Like, if you were to open up your eyes in a pool, that's how you would see people's hair like going behind them as they moved. So it was really awesome.
Yeah, I think I had the second John with the trench. I think just the lighting and just the amount of stuff that was going on, it looked really cool. But every faction, I like when they went to the fishermen and to the I forgot the more crustaceous looking people. I forgot their names.
Oh,
brine.
yeah.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go, the brine.
brine.
Yeah, but like it was all very well done. I think the CGI was on point. It was A1.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, is it my turn?
Tino.
Is that how this is going?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, for me, I'd probably go ahead and say probably that whole Atlantis thing, like going into it for the first time, the superhighway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's just where I'm at with it. But not to cut everybody short, but we're pretty much at time. So anybody want to hit them with a final thought or what?
Go see the movie. Fuck it.
Yeah, man. It's good. It's definitely ranking. It's up there with the rest of the DC movies. Definitely better than the rest.
I would cut you off to say it is much better than all the other DC movies, with Wonder Woman being a almost close second.
And see, and the thing about Wonder Woman is they did very well, and that movie they didn't spend half as much on the budget, and that's why certain
Poor advertising.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Like the budget was
Yeah.
it was not that much. Like they literally spent half. I don't know if it's because it was a female lead, and it was like, I don't
I
know what
think
that was
it's
about, but
I think it's because they had to use less CG on it because it wasn't mostly underwater.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Throw that one
Yeah.
out there. That's
Yeah.
But
probably why the
even
budget wasn't as big.
even still, the advertising was not pushed as hard as this movie was for so long. Like I feel like we didn't get the bulk of our advertising for that movie until like it was damn near release. But that's my 2 cents.
I can agree on the advertising.
Man, you guys second final thoughts. Actually, I do agree with Gia for the most part, with the exception of if I had to rank them just for top three where I'm at right now, I would say Aquaman by a landslide, Man of Steel, then Wonder Woman. And the only reason I don't think Wonder Woman was quite as good as Man of Steel, like I want it to be the same level, is just because I thought the CGI for the ending of it was really hard for me to digest.
Yeah.
But most of the movie, for the most part, was pretty good. I mean, the pacing wasn't too bad. I enjoyed it. I liked most of the CGI. I love Gal Gadot, so that's just where I'm at with that. But what I wanted somebody to say, but you didn't, because you guys only think about yourselves, and it's terrible.
Duh.
Okay, cool. Fuck it. For those of you who've been listening, happy holidays, Merry Christmas if you're into that stuff. I mean, I'm wearing a hat that says Merry Christmas, which is kind of ironic, but we'll get into that later.
See, I'm going to cut you off right there, Tino, because you didn't
Jesus.
say final thoughts in general. You said
Right.
final thoughts about the show. Because I'm going to say Happy Christmas, Hana, Kwanzaa, Dutet to everybody.
Yeah.
Cover all the holidays of the holiday season, since you just want to say Merry Christmas.
How long did it take you to practice that one in the mirror?
Is that
Gia?
Gia?
Not very long at all, because I've been saying it since high school, so I have 15 years of practice.
Well, you sound like Kris Kringle going through puberty.
Ooh wee.
Well, you sound like an asshole. So where are we both standing?
Why was that so much funnier than I thought it was going to be? Is this emotional pain?
Is it true?
I'm bleeding out.
Oh, Jesus.
So, all right, guys, make sure you head over to bodysnatcherspodcast.com. Again, we're on all different forms of social media. We're on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, all that cool stuff, Twitter. Also, make sure you head over, check out our Patreon account. Help us keep the lights on when you guys put in for that stuff. It can be $1, it can be up to $25, but wherever you donate, helps us keep this show running. Basically, we do this out of pocket, and we also give back. So we do monthly prizes. So anybody who is a Patreon member who's interested, we have a raffle strictly amongst other Patreon members. So you have a pretty high chance of winning. That being said, that's all I got. So good night. Anyone else?
Good night,
Peace.
guys.
Good morning and good night. Got it. Nailed it.
You know what? Have a great day. How about that?
We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys in the new year, 2019. Here we come.
Yep.
Ugh.